You're welcome back to my YouTube channel. How are you doing today? Right. This is just a video, right, to teach on what to do when your rejection zone, let's say supply and demand, let's say supply or demand, or support and resistance, or your other blocks is broken. Right. When you actually have just when you have a particular zone you are expecting to take your entry from, right, and price eventually got to the zone, then your zone was broken. What is expected of you to do? Should you just leave that trade and just go on and say that okay, your trade was a loss and you're not going to do anything about it? So this is the reason why I'm making this video, so that you will know what I do or what I will always do when my zone is broken, right? Because we're not the owner of this forex market, right? Our own is just to make a speculation. Our own is to make a prediction, then based on our analysis and based on our rules. And if those trade actually got triggered, right, then we are expecting either two things to happen: either price eventually work in our way, or price just take our stop loss out. So that is why I'm making this video. Now I made some analysis on AUD that was this week, all right, and I was expecting to take a sell from there. Now, how did I start this particular pair? Now, I actually did a top-down analysis. Right, looking at the daily time frame. Right, I saw that the daily time frame was actually bearish. Right, the daily time frame was bearish. I saw a liquidity zone, price actually pull back to that zone. So checking the 30 minutes time frame, right, I also saw the same thing. Now, if you actually look through all this time frame, 1 hour time frame, 2 hour time frame, 1 hour time frame, all those things are actually bearish. So I got 30 minutes time frame, I saw that. So this was where I got the types of other block, just like the previous video I made on other blogs, right? If you are here to see that video on other blogs, then you actually need to see it, right? It is going to be suggested to you here. Just check this video, you're going to see the suggestion there. All right, so I saw this particular zone that's not rejected, but this particular block actually have an impulsive move that break the structure. At the same time, it is rejecting on this particular breaker block. Yeah, so when price pulled back to this particular zone, I was expecting a 2 minutes time frame entry for me to take a trade on it, and these are really what we have here. Let me delete this from here so that I can actually explain it. So this is what I have now, and this is actually the setup I was expecting. Now I want to clear this particular chart that I've already marked so that I can actually explain it better. Now you're going to see the before charts that are displayed on the screen, as you can see. Right, can you see the before chart? I'm going to display it here, as you can see that now. So when I go to the market now, this is the 30 minutes time frame rejections on this particular gray box that you can see. That is what I saw. So I was expecting 2 minutes time frame to actually on 2 minutes time frame, I was expecting to take my trade. So what did I see? Let me just have a replay before this market actually pull back to this particular pair. I mean, to that particular rejection zone. So price was pulling back. So I saw that there was a liquidity grab here. Price already took out this liquidity, as you can see. Then I was expecting price to now break market structure now for me to continue with that trade, but eventually I saw that price was just compressing down to, right, so I just have to wait until price actually pull back down. So this was really what I saw. Price eventually came back here and break this market structure. So there was a break of market structure here. So when price actually break that market structure, I saw that break of market structure. So I was expecting price to actually pull back to the clearer zone, which is actually the clearer other blocks that broke that structure. Anyway, it's just based on human influence, right? That is actually what happened to me. I would have also looked at this particular extreme zone for me to pick a trade, but that is not the essence of this video. It's just to show you what I later did for me to get an entry. So basically, I should have also go to 1 minute time frame to refine this block, but by getting there, I saw that the price action was not clear. So going back to the 2 minutes time frame, I set my pending order here, right? I set my pending order at this particular rejection block. That was where I set my pending order, right, at that rejection block. This particular stuff is loading. Let's wait for this. I don't really know what happened. I was just using this trading view and it was not hanging like this. Right. So I guess this is not the right time for me to make this analysis. Right. So price actually, I was expecting price to pull back into this particular zone. My stop loss was there about 2 pips or so. Then I was targeting 1 to 10 risk reward ratio. Okay, you're going to see that I've already displayed that. So I was expecting price to pull back to the zone for me to take an entry, and let's see eventually what happened. Just like what I said, what to do when price break your zone. I mean, when your zone did not hold, maybe the zone we are actually expecting to take an entry from. So far, let's go on. Then our trade was triggered in, so we are actually in this trade already. So let's see what happened. Eventually my trade was stopped out. Now the reason why I will be looking for another kind of entry, right, is because basically this is still, this particular gray box you can see here is still my time frame. That's actually the setup time frame I was waiting for price to actually pull back to, for me to take this 2 minutes entry in the first place, or 1 minute entry in the first place. But when price break through this particular zone, what am I looking for? Now I will just go to 1 minute time frame, just a lesser time frame than this, then begins to look for structure, because this particular zone will now serve as a liquidity zone. Then much more, I will be looking for more, a very good block that this particular zone can actually reverse from. So basically this particular zone will be a good, very good zone for us to see price actually rejecting from. So by the time price actually pull back to that zone, let's see what happened. So price was actually going in a very complex manner. As you can see, it took out this particular high. So let's see, we want to see a good break of market structure before we actually take this break. Now price eventually came back and actually take out this liquidity, then coming back to reject on the block we are expecting. So when I see this kind of a setup, I saw impulsive move up, impulsive move down. This is what we call a double side impulsiveness. So we have an MBB block here, all right. An MBB block here is actually too big, so I can divide this particular pair into 50%, but I just choose to use the last candle, which is actually a zone that is yet to be retested. So this is exactly where I want to trade from. This is my trade, the entry. My stop loss will be, this is about 3 pips stop loss. I'm going to put my stop loss there about 2.5, right, above this high, because I'm expecting price to actually be within that zone. But anyway, let's put it above this particular structure so that we can actually give room for price to just move in case price will come back to that zone. So let's see what will happen when that happens. That's AUD then we are triggered in. This particular trade has actually triggered us in. Though you can also look for another trade here, assuming you miss this particular one, you can look for another trade here. But let's see eventually what happened when price just continue to go to move. Price continue to move, right? Then we see price moving down. So let's go to 10 minutes time frame so that we can just have the quick thing that will happen. This was a trade we eventually take. Now we are going for the next liquidity zone, which is 1 to 3, or this particular next liquidity zone, which is also 1 to 8. But basically, just like what I said, our main stuff is actually 1 to 10. 1 to 10 risk reward ratio. As you can see, this particular first one was already a loss. So let's see what price eventually did. Right, so our 1 to 10 risk reward ratio was met. Assuming we just slip away, or we just move away from the chart and you're saying that, oh, this particular zone has been lost, and we are just we are romancing that particular loss and not just get off it and just look for another opportunity, then we might not have actually taken this particular trade in here. As you can see what happened, let's see eventually what price later did. All right, because basically this is actually the next liquidity zone that we should actually target, and that will have actually given us about 1 to 12. Then by the time price actually ended, this is about 1 to 13 risk reward ratio that this particular pair would have given us. Now I've showed you the before and after. So the next trade I took that was actually like that was GJ. Now on Friday I had some trades that actually was a win, but I just have to explain this in case your trade was also you actually had a loss, then you'll be able to um, actually get things right. So this was a trade I took again, right? And what did I see here? By the time I showed you this, now you'll be able to understand everything. Now, basically, starting from this particular setup that you can see on your screen. Can you see that particular setup that you can see on your screen? So what did I do? Now, let's say this was when I got to see the pair on 5 minutes time frame. when price is just rejecting on that particular zone. As you can see now on the 1 minute time frame, that was where I got my entry from. I got my entry on the 1 minute time frame. I was expecting price to come back into this particular zone. My stop loss is here, which is about 3.5 pip stop loss. Then basically I was targeting 1 to 10 to, or the next liquidity zone. That's actually what I was targeting. As you can see it on the before chart that I've actually displayed to you. So eventually now price broke through this particular zone too, right? Price still moved, bounced for some for some minutes, and at least if you're looking for 1 to 1, I believe this we are looking for 1 to 3.5. Now this actually gave you 1 to 1 risk reward ratio, or 1 to 2 risk reward ratio. So as many people that are looking for just 1 to 2, 1 to 3, this would have actually given you that trade. But that's really too small for me. I was looking for at least, if not this liquidity zone. That's actually what I'm looking for. That's 1 to 6, or majorly 1 to 10. So let's just leave it at that. So price actually continued to go down, right? This will have actually given us some kind of trade, which is let's see, by the time price actually stop us out, because price actually stopped me out. That's why I'm actually making this video, right? So I was stopped out on this trade, but by the time price actually stopped me out, this trade that actually hit 1 to 3 risk reward ratio, which is still cool, right? If you are trading 1 to 3, right, you would have actually get out of this trade before price actually come back to stop me out. So this particular trade is no longer valid, as you can see that. So what I'm explaining is what you would do when you were stopped out. So price eventually come back to hit a rejection zone here, and when that happened, I saw what price is doing. So I'm looking for a break of market structure. It has already taken out liquidity, reject on a rejection block. So I'm waiting for break of market structure for me to trade that. And don't forget, so by the time price is actually moving down, it is now compressing. As you can see, price is not moving in a very expansive way. All right. So let's see the price action that we have here. Now, when price is giving me this kind of a sign, right? I'm expecting to buy, but based on my bias and based on the direction of this particular price action, I'm expecting to sell this particular pair. I'm expecting to sell this particular pair because of the direction I actually have here. And what is that direction? Now, if you look from this on the 4-hour time frame, I saw a breaker block there, and you can see actually a fair value gap price pulled back to it, having taken out liquidity. So this actually made me to go to 5 minutes time frame when I saw at the higher time frame rejection zone, just like what we always call it in my group, right? Price to counter liquidity. That's why I was looking for that 5 minutes time frame entry. But anyway, when price actually got to this 1 minute time frame, right, and actually stopped me out, as I can see, when price is actually compressing down, right, I'm looking for an impulsive move that will break market structure, an impulsive move that will break market structure. And that particular impulsive move was not very tested before. That's what I'm looking for. So let's see now. Perfect. I can see this candle. It did not reject, or it has not been rejected. I mean, it has not been retested before, and price actually break this particular low. So this will make me to consider this particular zone as where I want to take entry from, because I'm very sure that sometimes, because of what price has actually done, price might not actually come to this far. So this actually made me to reduce, I mean, to mark the place I'm really expecting my trade to actually come back to. As you can see, so this is my stop loss. No, I'm looking for at least 2.5. This actually is zone I was expecting the entry to come back to, because price might not really come back into that zone, and I don't really want a situation whereby price will just leave me out. So this is about 1 to 1 risk reward ratio, 1 to 1.5 risk reward ratio. Let's see what will happen. So price is just moving down, so I want to target this particular low. I want to see the zone at which price we actually pull back to that zone. So this is actually the low, yeah, just like an equal low. This is about 1 to 3. So let's see what happened. Price did not trigger us in, so let's look for another setup. Okay, yes, price actually triggered us in here, right? This was the setup. Price eventually triggered us in here. We have these are stop loss. So let's see if this is actually going to hit our target rate. 1 to 3 has been met. Don't forget, we are going to 1 to 10, or the next liquidity zone, which is actually this particular zone, 1 to 16 risk reward ratio. So let's see what happened. 1 to 16 is met. As you can see, as you may just leave this trade out, I would not have actually taken this trade, just as what you can see in here. 1 to 16 was met. So let's see eventually how this trade actually play out to the end of the day. Let me just cancel the just replay for you to see. I've showed you the setup, show you the after chart. So by the end of the day, this trade was actually trading at 1 to 20 risk reward ratio. Just simple trade, just in a day. I mean, all this trade I'm explaining, they are just in a day for you to follow through. Just 1 to 20 risk reward ratio. And lastly, this was a USD card trade I also take. I mean, the trade I actually took. As you can see, there was actually, I was doing the top down analysis from the daily time frame, got the best actually on the H1 time frame. Then actually I was expecting to take a 1 minute entry. Although this trade I had a loss here, but there was another one that was actually running on the 1 hour time frame. I had a precision entry here that was actually running, but I forgot to actually take the screenshot of that. But this is actually what this trade is running. It's still running at the rate of 1 to 20 risk reward ratio by the end of the day. But basically, I don't leave my trade to the after market is up. I mean, before market close, we actually have to close all the trade, right, that I'm trading for that week. So this is really what I have here, as you can see, right. So on the 2 minutes time frame, this is really what I was expecting, right? I was expecting price to pull back to this zone after price actually hit that 1 hour rejection zone. I've been coming from daily time frame, and I saw that based on my top down analysis, that price is actually very bullish. So I got to 2 minutes time frame for me to continue with that trend, but I was stopped out. So by the time price actually stopped me out, I have a liquidity zone here. So on 1 minute time frame, when price actually stopped me out, so I began to look for 1 minute structure. And what did I do? Right, basically, if I have a replay from here, just to show you how I took the entry, if I have a replay from here, so I saw this price is going higher. I'm looking for an impulsive move that will break market structure. Don't forget that impulsive move that will break market structure. That is the ultimate stuff about my strategy, right? Impulsive move that will break market structure. Eventually, I had that impulsive move here. This particular candle took out liquidity, reject on this block, had an impulsive move, break market structure. Then this one also took out this low, break market structure, but did not have an impulsive one. So basically, I can see what a candle we always call a last candle here. This particular last candle has also engulfed break market structure. So basically, this is where I should really take my entry from. But I don't really do, because I've actually taken a loss here, and I don't really want to play around price again. By taking it here and putting my stop loss at that zone, we're actually giving 1.8 to pay stop loss. So I know using this particular zone. Now, what did I now do here? Right, from this particular zone to this particular low, that's actually when price actually breaks structure. So I want to trade the 50%. So this is the 50% of this zone. Now, if you take Fibonacci and if you drag it from this particular low to this particular high, so where is your 50%? Actually, Fibonacci is giving me another zone. But I used to use this box for me to get the 50% of that zone, and the 50% is actually basically, right, okay, this is a 50%. That's the 50% of this. Now, that is really where I'm willing to actually buy this pair from. So I'm expecting price to pull back there. Now, this is aligned with this block here. I know price can actually get here, and this is actually my point of validation, right? Then also this block here, this is actually the ultimate zone. I'm really willing to trade from this particular block. I'm here to actually show it on YouTube, but maybe later in the future I might actually do that. So let's see what happened if price will actually come back here. So this trade was actually activated. As you can see what happened, it was activated. So let's just go to let's say 10 minutes time frame to see how it played out. So by the end of the day, we can actually see what happened. So we had one was a loss. This is actually still running. This particular one was still running. Then this other one here, all right, because this is actually the next liquidity zone I'm actually willing to target, and this is actually another one. This trade already gave 1 to 10. This one also gave 1 to 10. This was a loss, and that is really how I trade this pair. But majorly, when your zone is broken, then you should actually know how you would have actually treated it. That if it's still within the range of your rejection zone, the higher time frame rejection zone, then you should know that it is yet to actually be over for that trade. You can look for another opportunity, but when you are stopped out for maybe about 3 times, right, or maybe 2 or 3 times, then you can just let it go and just give it, call it a day on that pair, and just let it go and look for another setup in another day. Maybe that zone is not really good, but sometimes I've seen it actually taking me out for about 3 times and maybe 4 times. right? And that, I mean, 3 times, then I will just look out and I will just look away from that pair. I'm not willing to trade it again. But price will give you another setup and just move away. But you should know that particular rejection zone is still preserved. That is why I will actually be rest assured that that trade is actually still valid. Then I'm going to trade it as many times that that setup is going to present entry structure. I hope this actually help you. And if this actually help you and you like this, I mean, and you really get so much value from this, please click on the like button. And don't forget, if you're a new subscriber, please kindly subscribe to this channel. And if you're old member, thank you for the support and thank you for all what you guys are doing. You can leave comments on this in the comment section, and also follow us on Instagram and join us on the Telegram channel too. Until next time that we're going to see, have a lovely day.